escorted the other angels and made sure they followed the rules the council members set in place. They followed the rules, even if the rules were sometimes, in his opinion, too strict for their own good. But he would never voice it. He was merely a warrior angel. He wasn't even a godly one like in the fables of mortals. Their race wasn't that of a god. Yes, if theology was correct, a god at some point had created them. But they weren't God's right-hand men. They were not the symbol of goodness and hope. Far from it. They were just another species with rules, regulations, and a seemingly endless long life in order to be subjugated. Wow, bitter much? He shouldn't be. He had everything he wanted, didn't he? His forehead scrunched as he thought, and his wings fluttered a bit in agitation. He certainly had all the money, titles, glory, and privileges a warrior of the finest caliber could have. Why did he feel like he was missing something? Shade shook his head and looked around. He stood at a midpoint on the mountainside, the enclave circling him. Stone buildings jutted from rock faces, thousands of feet above the surface, old as time. No stairs or elevators here. Open the door, and without wings, they dropped to their death. Marble and crystal twinkled in the sunlight from the adornments and windows on all the structures. It may have looked cold to some, but to Shade and his angelic brethren, it was warm and inviting. It looked like home, but it wasn't truly a home. There was no love waiting on the other side of the door, and that pained him. He sighed. He really needed to stop thinking such depressing thoughts. Taking one last look at the place he called home, he jumped off the ledge, his wings spreading to catch drift as the cool breeze hit his skin. He flew past other angels in the air, nodding to a few, but he kept to himself. He was a warrior angel, the last face some would see as they stared beyond the end of his blade. Tough to make lifelong friends outside of certain circles that way. Shade descended, the wind whipping his hair back from his face, until his feet touched the stone balcony set off the council chambers. He set his wings back, making sure they didn't trail on the floor. He was exhausted, but that didn't give him a reason to be lazy. He walked through the ornate doors that reached tall to the roof. Despite his 1,000 years of living, sometimes the immense beauty of the council chambers had him at a loss for words. Gold and crystal adorned the walls. Intricate carvings and art filled the room. Eons of pride and talent gave the room a sense of grandeur and honor that made Shade feel young in relation to the other angels surrounding him. In reality, he was the youngest warrior angel of them all, and second in command to Ambrose, the leader of the warriors, the best at the job. That wasn't pride talking, just fact. Shade walked to the center of the room and surveyed the 5 council members before him, perched high on their thrones, their noses turned up towards him. Another presence worried him. Ambrose stood off to the side, a frown on his face. What was happening? "I see you have finally decided to grace us with your presence," Cain, the leader and all-around pain in the ass, admonished, and Shade held in a scowl. The brown-haired angel lifted a lip as if the mere sight of him disgusted the ruler. Shade bowed his head. "I'm sorry I was late. I had just finished my dealing with the young angel and needed time to clear my head before I came. I didn't want to taint the council with the thoughts and actions of a warrior." There. That didn't sound like sarcasm and disdain, did it? Well, maybe it did, but it was the best he could do. He wasn't overly happy with Ambrose in the council chamber. It felt like an ambush. Cain snorted and shook his head. Okay, apparently he couldn't quite mask his true feelings. Oh well. Shade didn't hate the council. He just didn't like the fact that they held all the power, and didn't seem to do anything but hand out decrees and punishments that were enforced by the warriors. There were only 3 classes of angels: the council, the warriors, and the others. He didn't like all the power on the top that trickled down to nothing, but who was he to speak out of turn? "Enough of your pleasantries. We need you here now." Stryker, the second in command, cut in. Dishwater brown hair and plain features made him look almost human.